What's going on, guys? I just thought I'd make a quick little informational video on the GH WRX 2008 and newer for a adjustable fuel pressure regulator install. All the information that I could find for the 2008 Plus seemed to be for the STIs, and there's a couple of differences between the WRX and STIs. The first one is that the factory fuel pressure regulator location for the STI is right there by the fuel dampers and the strut tower. On the WRX, it's under there. And the other difference is the fuel lines. On the WRX, I won't mention STIs, so I won't confuse you guys, but the WRX, it is feed line, evap line, and then return line. And the same thing goes here. Feed, evap, and return on the bottom. So the first thing I had to do was get the factory fuel pressure regulator off, and basically your factory one, you'll see it when you go out to your own car. It basically just kind of sits in there just like that. I didn't have the best of luck getting that out. I couldn't fit any stubby screwdrivers in there, and my Shrek hands wouldn't fit. But the best way I did eventually discover was getting a 1/4-inch drive ratchet, if it'll focus there, using that special little socket that holds the bits in. I'm sure any size will do, but that special socket holds that bit in, and you wouldn't want to lose that in there. Not cool. So anyways, once you get that off, I was then able to install that Turbosmart fuel line adapter. I'll leave a part number in the description below. But once you get the regulator off, it's actually pretty easy to get that in because you don't have a big fuel pressure regulator to deal with anymore. You could hand tighten them. Even with my gigantic hands, it was easy to do. And that fuel line adapter actually has, I believe it's a 1/8 NPT outlet. So whatever you need to run your fuel lines, you'll more than likely have to get an adapter. I got 6 AN fittings for all my fuel lines. And so you have to get an adapter off that. So onto the fuel pressure regulator. Mine has 2 inlets, so if I wanted to run a parallel setup in the future, I could do that. And they are 10 AN fittings. So obviously, because I'm still running the factory fuel lines, the series lines, I had to plug one side, and I just used the other side for the inlet. This regulator came with a bracket, the one that it's mounted to. You can see it there. But I chose to mount it here. I couldn't really find any other spot to put it. So I put it there, but I had a couple pieces of aluminum laying around, and so I just made my own bracket and used the 2 bolts that hold the intercooler bracket on. And I just bent it in my bench vise with a piece of wood and hammer to get it pretty close to kind of a 90-degree bend as possible. I just used the factory boost reference line. I switched it end for end because it kind of fit a little better. While I was in there, I zip tied that end, which I don't really think made much difference because that little nipple doesn't have a flare on it. But anyways, I put one on there because it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And I haven't put one on this end yet because I've been kind of doing some adjustments here and there, kind of fine-tuning it, and I've been having to take that off a bit. So instead of going through zip ties, I just kind of left it off for now. So it's stayed on, but I'll put one on probably after I finish this. The last thing is I got a fuel pressure sensor and gauge. And so this one came with a sensor outlet. I believe that's 1/8 NPT as well. I don't remember exactly, but the harness I ran down into the fender there. Excuse the dirty car. I used to work in a very dusty yard, so it was really hard to keep this thing clean. But anyways, down there, if you pull that fender liner back, there's a plastic little grommet that feeds right into the kick driver's kick panel area, and I just fed the wiring through that and up and through the dash. I believe there's a write-up for that. I will try to find it for you guys and leave that in the description as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll do my best to respond. Thanks for watching.